What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. My name is Filip Latocha, and today we are talking about the Nike Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent after the glorious 200-mile mark in this particular pair of shoes. So we've got lots to discuss in terms of some issues I have with it, some goods, some greats, you know, the usual stuff. Hopefully some deviations from previous videos on this particular shoe entry. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, because 2021 is going to be sick. Not like 2020 sick, but like sick, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then also comment down below your favorite color of this shoe and what alcoholic beverage you drink before you run in this shoe. That's if you're 21 or older in the United States. I don't know what the rules are in other countries, but I will tell you first, Mango White Claws is definitely the play with this shoe for obvious reasons. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, first things first, let's talk specs about the Mango Tempo Next Percent. Basically, this shoe weighs about 10 ounces, which puts it at about 275, 280 grams, depending on how you're measuring it that way. That's in about size 10, because it's a size 8.5, gotta be slightly less. The women's size is about like 15 to 20% less in terms of weight. So again, you're gonna have to convert that accordingly to what size shoe you have. Stack height from heel to toe is about a 10 millimeter offset. The heel on this shoe is about 41 millimeters high. So just so you're aware, if you're an elite athlete, you can't race in this. But of course, that's something a commenter brought up in a previous video. But because I'm going to take a guess that most of us who are watching this shoe review are not elites yet, or don't plan on being elites, why do we care? I don't know. Good to know, I suppose. I guess in terms of reference between this and like the Alpha Fly, it's good to know that the correlation between training in a 10 millimeter shoe that's supposed to resemble the Alpha Fly, whereas the Alpha Fly has like a 4 millimeter offset, I understand, maybe 6, something like that. It will be interesting how that, you know, kind of transfers over if you're using this as a trainer and whatnot. Big digression, whatever, let's continue. Let's talk bottoms, of course, of the shoe. So, as you can see, we do have the React heel, which is a nice piece, nice soft cushion landing if you are a heel striker. But again, if you are a heel striker, it's my opinion you probably shouldn't be using the shoe. We'll get to it in a second here. We do have Zoom X running across this area here, so this rigid foam that runs across here and in this forefoot area. Again, very soft, very comfortable. Very fast in tandem with the Air Zoom pockets that are here in the mid and forefoot of the shoe. This is what I was talking about with heel striking, is that if you heel strike in this shoe, you're only going to get a piece of the nylon plate force just kind of compressing and decompressing on the shoe. But if you want to do that, you should run in a shoe that's more, I'd say, heel strike worthy, that doesn't have technology that kind of wants you to use this midfoot, forefoot area. So again, back to the air pockets. We do have two Air Zoom pockets pods here in the mid and forefoot area of the shoe. Which is supposed to create this compression and decompression as you hit the ground, and you expand that energy, and you kind of get a nice spring effect in this particular shoe, which notoriously speaking gets a lot of mixed reviews among the audience of people who have watched this video and people who have just owned the shoe overall. They either dislike it or really like it. It's really an eye of the beholder kind of thing. And in my opinion, it comes down to what your average training pace is that makes the difference whether you like this shoe or not. If you are a faster trainer daily and you have this more mid-forefoot strike, you will like this shoe, in my opinion. You might have some questions about it in terms of the air pockets and all the moving parts that are in it. But overall, I would say that's kind of the big concern here, is what kind of pace you run in that makes this technology work. And in addition to the air pockets, there is a nylon plate that this shoe is using rather than a carbon plate, probably for cost cutting and probably just as an experimental thing, I suppose. I don't have any issues with the nylon plate so far. I don't see it kind of breaking through the shoe at any point here, but you do see it, so that's kind of cool, I suppose. But yeah, moving on, we do have React here. We have React foam that is kind of protecting you between the nylon and the air pockets and your foot. That's basically this mango colored foam. Again, very comfortable. It's good for your foot to land on. The React just is very soft. It's firm. It's not going to hurt your feet in any sort of way, hopefully, crossing my fingers. If you have been injured by this shoe, comment down below. But I think the React is pretty good in terms of having a nice landing area there. And of course, because we have so much room for landing with this React, with this ZoomX, with these AirPods. It is a good way to protect your foot while it's landing ultimately, but it might not ultimately prevent something like, I don't know, breaking a bone if you hit your foot on the ground too hard or something like that. But again, I digress. That's like a weird way to look at it, I suppose. Let's talk uppers. So of course, because it's Flyknit, it does get a lot of weird rep overall in terms of mobility, durability, comfort. So as we've discussed before, the heel is a thicker Flyknit, and as you move to the toe box area of the shoe, the Flyknit does get a lot thinner, more translucent, a lot more flexible than usual. And then it's of course this painted plastic-ish area here in the toe box that kind of prevents your toes from basically breaking through the shoe or ripping it in any sort of way, which I guess is a good play overall. If we're going to talk about the inside of the Flyknit, there is this like cloth mesh cage on the inside that you might be able to kind of see. I think that basically keeps that thinner Flyknit all together and prevents the shoelaces from structurally being misaligned, I suppose, and it helps you just keep your mid-foot area basically within the shoe without kind of moving around all too much. So it's more or less that like cage structure that definitely keeps your foot stable in that sense. The shoelaces are asymmetric to the outside of the shoe. Again, that's been kind of Nike's big play as of recently. Well, not really recently, but like it's been the move for the last 2 to 3 years, I suppose. Now 4, I guess. It's probably 4 now. But yeah, I like it overall. No complaints on that front. The Achilles pillow, of course, in this shoe has been pretty good. There were some anomalous manufacturing errors in the past with this particular shoe where this thing would just scratch you up real bad. I think they did just a better job designing this shoe overall, and maybe the future models to come will ultimately be a lot better, a lot more comfortable, and they've probably recognized this issue and have probably fixed it overall. Anything else I can say about the specs? Not really. I guess we can go into what is the damage of the shoe at this point in time. So if you've been following this series with my experience with the Mango Tempo Next Percents, you would know that we are ripping up some mad rubber on these shoes, and I want to tell you guys about what's going on. So here's the moment you've all been probably waiting for. So here we go. Take a look at this. So that is my right foot. This is my left foot. That's my right foot again. And the left foot again. Okay, so let's obviously look at the right foot because this is the fun piece, right? So it's already been common knowledge. It's been made known to me already that there are some people who have had this shoe for a lot longer and have experienced a lot more damage than I have in this case, but they've put on like 500, 600 plus miles, and the shoes don't look anything like this. That being said, because we're 200 plus miles in, I'm expecting some real damage to start occurring. And that's basically what we're seeing here, as you can tell by this air pocket. Last time we made this video, we were just beginning to shred the sides of the air pocket right about here, and now it's starting to come right down across, and that rubber is just starting to peel and erode right off the shoe. The piece that I was concerned about was this piece right there that I was expecting it to come off, and it's still holding on, which is excellent. I guess that is ultimately keeping the Air Zoom pocket and the ZoomX foam slightly working in tandem, but it's not holding up very well much longer at this rate. So we'll just see how that ends up playing out. The Air Zoom pocket is getting a little bit scratched up, as you can see, from the dirt, from anything on the concrete, ultimately. It's not popped yet. It looks like it's still in pretty good condition. You can feel the pocket, though. It's very comfortable. It does indeed feel like a Tide Pod, I suppose, but that's kind of cool. What else? You can see the fibers of the Air Zoom pocket slightly here at the bottom, so you can see how they're kind of glued on, more or less. And yeah, that's just something very interesting. It's not, again, affecting the performance at this point in time, but it is interesting at how durable the technology underneath the rubber is opposed to the rubber itself. I was expecting the shoe to start falling apart the moment the rubber started breaking down, but it's kind of blowing my mind that the shoe is still performing exactly the way I had it since day one. It's the left shoe that's kind of been very interesting to me as of late, but we'll get into that in a second. The other thing here is that the inside, the insole rubber here on this particular shoe is also starting to crack up just a little bit, which again kind of expected, but at this point in time, 200 plus miles in, let them come, let the damage ensue. I want to see how far we can take this thing before it just becomes completely unusable. At that point, it would be either the air zoom pocket rips out, it either pops, or maybe like the Zoom X rubber just rips right off the shoe for some reason. So we'll see how that plays out. On this side of the shoe, we are beginning to see the damage that I saw 50 miles in with the other pair. So that kind of gives you an idea of how unique the wear is on both shoes in terms of how I run, where I run, and ultimately, yeah, it's just really funny to see that the wear is not very equal at all. And yeah, just kind of shows you how running in the city on slanted ground that is leaning towards a lake can impact the wear and tear of particular shoes that you're running in. So yeah, I would say at this point in time, the performance doesn't feel like it's degrading whatsoever, but the shoes definitely are. So that's holding up pretty well. I still have two things I do want to address in terms of some cons I'm experiencing with the shoes, and I guess we'll just start with the right shoe as well. So I brought this up in my previous video that this mesh cage within the Flyknit material, if you do have it way too tight on the shoelaces, it does give your foot like this weird foot ache, headache kind of feeling. So you do loosen up a little bit, and it does kind of help out, but it does come back gradually after a while, so you do have to keep loosening it and whatnot. Sometimes the sock you wear is really important, that you don't have like this really thick sock that would cut off like circulation in your foot, which can do something like that. Yeah, it's pretty bad, so you gotta kind of work around with that. And again, that's a Flyknit problem. It's not really a universal shoe problem in that sense. So that's only what's going on here with the right foot, with the shoe that's obviously shredding like this. And in terms of the left foot, I did have myself a concern. Oh yeah, I know what it is. So we've talked about this once before, the billion-dollar question of can you use this shoe as a daily trainer? And in my opinion, you can, but you have to be very cautious with it, in the sense that if you're trying to use this for like a really slow run, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to get the full effect of this shoe, and it's just going to be a terrible time. But if you are running fast regularly in this shoe, like I have been for the last like 2 months on Strava, basically you're going to fly in this shoe like every single day. It'll carry you, but you need to be cautious of the fact that it is going to beat you up pretty bad. So I've said this previously before as well. My toes, like not necessarily the toenails, but the toes are starting to experience a lot of blisters and a lot of beatdown just from this toe box area, and just, you know, pushing 6-minute miles, 550s on a daily basis, with very little. Maybe that's a lie. I would say like there's moderate fatigue in my legs, but it's not like my recovery's bad or anything. It's just my toes are really starting to take a beating, and it is good to switch out of the shoe every so often, unless you have like better foot endurance than I do. But I'm not ready to push myself to that point where we start seeing how many bloody toes I can get, because the last time I tried to push my foot to limits that I didn't understand, I broke my foot, and it was kind of a sad day. Sad few months in that realm of running. But yeah, this is like an everyday racer, but you do want to use it as an everyday trainer, but you can't just because of how it's built in that case. So like basically today would be my last day to run in this before I take a little break from it. I did put the 200 plus miles onto it, so I'm good with it. I've got some other shoes I want to try out in this mix. Of course, if the snow does continue dropping the way it is, I don't know if it still is. It kind of subsided for now, but if it does keep snowing, we jump back in the Peg Turbo Shields. If the weather kind of clears up, we got the Infinity Reacts, we got Peg 37s, I got a Peg Turbo 2 I can still run in. So we got a selection of things we can do, but maybe we'll put this one off to the side for like maybe a week minimum, just so my foot kind of gets some time to relax and rest from basically taking a beating in this thing. So that's my overall assessment at 200 plus miles. The shoe is still holding up, still very durable, still very fast. I am still a very big fan of this shoe. Again, it's good to rotate it out once in a while, just so you're not taking a beating from the shoe, and you give your legs some time to rest. You give your stride a chance to experiment with different form, depending on what shoe you're in, so you're not always locked in a pseudo carbon plate shoe and taking beating in your ankle or whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of the assessment as we have it for now. If I missed anything, definitely let me know in the comments below. But yeah, again, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know your feelings on this shoe, what alcohol you drink before you start running, because obviously that's mandatory when you run, right? I guess it's not. That's a total joke. Don't comment down that below, especially if you're under 21. Like, that's going to be really bad for you if you're from the States. So that's all I've got. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys real soon.